Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another very important episode. This episode is the weekend episode for week 3. Basically, what we do in these episodes is we go through the schedule for this weekend, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I name players that you should consider adding for Friday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever fits your schedule better, and honestly, whoever the best player available is, if any of those fit your schedule, and then you get 2 games from that player, which is pretty good. And then I go through some goalies that you can consider streaming as well, some defensemen if that's what you want to do, and then I go through some categories. So if you need to catch up on shots on goals, hits, blocks, or face-off wins, I have you covered at the end of the video, and I name you some really good options to add to do that. So before we jump into it, guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We are so close to 8,000 subscribers. So if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, definitely consider doing so, because that'd be such an amazing achievement to hit. Thanks so much, guys. Let's jump right into the content now, and let's take a look at the schedule for this weekend. And on Friday, there are 4 games only. On Saturday, there are 14. And on Sunday, there are 4. So in all likelihood, your lineup is pretty full for Saturday. There's only 4 teams in the league not playing. So what you're probably going to want to focus on are the Friday and Sunday players. But nevertheless, I'm still going to be showing you guys Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, Sunday players, just in case you do end up streaming somebody from those options as well. So if you do want to stream someone for Friday and Saturday, even though Saturday is a pretty busy night, the options that you have to stream from are Chicago, Nashville, the New York Islanders, Pittsburgh, and Vegas. Best player, in my opinion, to be streaming is Brian Rust, playing top power play and top 6 minutes in Pittsburgh. Then Ryan O'Reilly, top line, top power play in Nashville. Thomas Hertl, second line, top power play. Barbashev, top line, and is doing pretty well this year. Teuvo Teravainen and Nick Foligno are both top line in Chicago with Connor Bedard, and they're both top power play as well, having pretty good years. Rickard Rakell having a pretty solid season on the second line with Malkin. Lars Eller has been scoring a lot of goals lately despite playing only third line minutes. Definitely not a terrible stream there. Then Kyle Palmieri and Maxim Tsiplakov are playing top 6 minutes and top power play in New York, so definitely not terrible streaming options there. They both shoot a decent amount. Gustav Nyquist is top line in Nashville. Tommy Novak is kind of being moved up and down the lineup right now, but potentially he's a second line center over there. Michael Bunting is on the second line with Malkin and Rakell. Was healthy scratch, but should be back to playing once again. And then Jean-Gabriel Pageau is a third line center in New York Islanders, and he's getting some power play time as well, so he's not a terrible ad. Now for the most important part of the video, the Friday and Sunday games. There are only 3 teams that play both Friday and Sunday. Those teams are Edmonton, New Jersey, and Ottawa. So the pickings are a little bit slim for who you actually can add from those teams if you do want those off-night games. Number 1 guy to be adding, in my opinion, is Josh Norris, who's getting second line and top power play time in Ottawa and is doing pretty good this year. As long as he stays healthy, he's definitely going to be a stud all year. Then Claude Giroux is on the line with Josh Norris and Batherson, but is not getting top power play time, which is why I have him ranked slightly lower than him. All right, then I have Stefan Nason, who's on the third line in New Jersey and is also getting top power play time over there, having a pretty solid year so far in New Jersey. Dawson Mercer's on the top line with Heischer and Meyer and is getting PP2 time, so he's the next best streamer there. Paul Cotter and Eric Haula are on the third line in New Jersey and are both having pretty solid years so far and are decent ads as well. Shane Pinto is a third line center in Ottawa and is the next best ad. Then Victor Arvidsson and Adam Henrique playing on the second and third lines in Edmonton respectively, both having pretty underwhelming seasons so far, but definitely could turn it around at any point. David Perron, I believe he was playing on the third line with Pinto. He is away from the team for a personal matter, but I'm imagining that he's probably going to be back soon. Not 100% sure, so definitely check on that before you add him. Palat and Tatar are playing on the second and fourth lines respectively, but they've been moving around quite a bit, and Tatar has been getting some PP2 time, so they're really not great ads, but if you are desperate and there's nobody else, they can be added. Connor Brown, same thing, third line. Hasn't been doing very good, but if you're super desperate for 2 games, he can be added. And then Michael Amati is actually playing on the top line in Ottawa with Brady Tkachuk. Hasn't done a whole lot of anything this year, but the deployment's there, so he definitely could score a point or 2. You want someone to play on Saturday and Sunday. Anaheim, Detroit, Montreal, and Philadelphia are the teams that you want to be targeting. Number 1 guy to be grabbing is Frank Vetrano, who's playing on the line with Troy Terry and Ryan Strome, all guys who you see on this slide. Why? Because that's the best line in Anaheim. I don't care what site has him listed as what line. That is the top line in Anaheim, and it has been the most productive line in Anaheim. So definitely those three guys are solid ads. Matvei Michkov is the next best guy I have on the list, playing on the second line and top power play in Philadelphia, although Tortorella is just shuffling those lines like crazy. Vladimir Tarasenko is the next guy I have, who's playing on the second line and second power play in Detroit, but we all know Tarasenko's talent. He definitely could put up a couple points. Morgan Frost is on the top line and top power play in Philadelphia, so he's definitely someone to look out for here. JT Compher, second line, second power play, definitely isn't the worst ad there. He also has all three positional eligibility. Leo Carlsson is playing on probably what you want to call the second line. He has been the next best Duck after the three that I mentioned. Joel Farabee, it's the next guy you want to go for. He's being shuffled all around the lineup, but he has been pretty decent this year. Mason McTavish hasn't been all that great, but he's probably the next best guy to be adding. And then Kirby Dach, who's actually currently playing on the top line in Montreal with Slafkovsky hurt, so he could actually go up this list quite a bit, probably even above Leo Carlsson, just because that potential is there being on the top line and top power play in Montreal. Tyson Forster, if he is playing top line or second line minutes, definitely someone who is viable. Ryan Poehling, last I checked, he was the second line center with Michkov, so if he stays there, definitely can have some value too. And then finally, Alex Newhook's playing second line, but also top power play in Montreal with Slafkovsky injured. Let's take a look at defensemen that you could be streaming. And the number one guy, is sad to say, but it's Lane Hudson. I know he's been pretty bad with the negatives lately, but the potential is there and definitely has the best chance of putting up points for you. Braden McNabb is decent for the safe floor. Caden Gooley, if he's healthy, is pretty decent for the safe floor as well. Eric Gustafson's actually top power play in Detroit, so the ceiling is there, but the floor isn't very high. Thomas Chabot is only second power play this year, so he has a bit of a floor, but the ceiling isn't that high. Jamie Drysdale's top power play in Philadelphia, but it's not a very good power play, so don't expect too much there. Cam York is putting up some decent peripherals. He's been okay. Ryan Pulock and Romanov both have some pretty decent peripherals for floor, but I'm not expecting too many points with those guys. And then Brendan Dillon of the New Jersey Devils has an okay floor as well. And Brian Dumoulin of the Anaheim Ducks, who's only 1% rostered, has been delivering a pretty solid floor with blocks. If you want to stream a goalie, the number one goalie to be streaming is the Detroit goalie, whoever starts on Sunday. So one of them is going to be starting against Buffalo on Saturday, and the other one's going to start against Edmonton on Sunday. Edmonton has not really been that good, so Talbot or Lyon are both decent streaming options. And then Montreal's going to be playing St. Louis on Saturday, and then Philadelphia on Sunday. I imagine Montembeault gets the first start, but it could be the opposite, so Montembeault could be the stream for the second night as well. Anaheim is playing the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, but Dostal has been really good, so if he's getting that start, honestly, he could be the best streamer on this list. But again, Gibson could be healthy because he's traveling with the team, and Reimer could be the guy getting the second start as well. And then finally, Ivan Fedotov should be the guy getting the start on Sunday, since he is starting on Wednesday night. I imagine Urson starts Saturday and Fedotov starts on Sunday. He has not been very good to start the year, which is why I have him as the worst streamer, but definitely against a pretty bad Montreal team could end up with a pretty favorable result. All right, so now for the categories league section of the video. If you need shots on goal, the number one guy to add is Anders Lee, who's been shooting 4.4 times per game this year, which is pretty crazy. Then Palmieri with 3.4, Shea with 3.4, Russ 3.4, Morgan Frost 3.2, Frankie V 3.3. That was his average last year. Hasn't been shooting a lot this year, although last game he did shoot 6 times, so maybe that's coming back. That's why I have him at number 6. Brandon Gallagher 2.8, Ryan Strome 2.8, and David Perron 2.8 if he does play. As for blocks, the number one guy is Caden Gooley if he does play, who's been blocking 4 blocks per game this year, which is great. Radko Gudas 3.4, Romanov 3.2, Wyatt Kaiser of the Chicago Blackhawks 3.0, Dumoulin 2.8, and David Savard 2.3. If you need hits, Jeremy Lauzon has continued where he left off from last year with 5.4 hits on average per game. Foligno 3.7, Lawton 3.6, McGinn 3.4, Gudas 3.2, and Emil Heineman 3.2 as well. If you need face-off wins, Ryan O'Reilly is your guy. 12.4 face-off wins per game. Hurdle with 9.7, Frost 9.4, Pajot 8.0, Norris 7.6, Kurashev 7.5, Sissons 7.4, and then both Pinto and Ryan Strome with 7.2 face-offs per game. And remember, if you do it over 2 games, it's double that number that you see, so it definitely could help you catch up. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed my content today, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped. That'll be the waiver wire week 4.